Welcome to Analyst Talk with Jason Elder. It's like coffee with an analyst, or it could be whiskey with an analyst reading a spreadsheet, linking crime events, identifying a series, and getting the latest scoop on association news and training. So please don't beat that analyst and join us as we define the law enforcement analysis profession one episode at a time.
How we doing, analyst? Jason Elder here with another LEA podcast deep dive. Real crime all the time. And with me is Nikki North. Nikki, how we doing?
Doing good, Jason. How you doing?
I am doing well. It is springtime in Florida. We went from fall to winter to spring, I think, in 4 weeks.
Yep, it's about right. It's about right.
But I guess that's better than hurricanes. So I guess I'll take it.
Absolutely.
All right. So what are we talking about today?
We're going to go into, I know on a few of the past ones I've kind of touched on the Big Brother stigma, so I think we're going to take a deep dive into the Big Brother stigma and how to avoid it for a real-time crime center.
And I find that it's imperative for real-time crime centers to consider this. Most of the law enforcement analyst units out there may or may not need to worry about having such a stigma as much as real-time crime centers.
Absolutely. I think it comes with you're using a lot more of what the public knows exists, and it's not just kind of a, hey, I need a crime stat. There's not really anything to it. It's a fact, whereas there's a little bit more interpretation and liability when it comes to having some more of those extra resources for the real-time crime element of it.
All right. So what are some tips for marketing and to put the public at ease?
So not one that I necessarily go by, but I know politics is one that will definitely play into a lot of how people choose to or choose not to market their crime centers. So that's definitely something to keep in mind, is the politics and kind of just the overall heat of your community. So some people will take the easy way and lay low and just not make it really known that they exist. Personally, for me, I don't really recommend that way, but that may work for some. For me, what I recommend is, first and foremost, make it known within your agency, at least, that you have a real-time crime center. You're kind of a lost resource if you don't do that. You'll have people call in and they'll be like, hey, I'm looking for the people with the cameras. And if it's not known across your agency, they may have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. So make sure within your agency, first and foremost, at the very least, that they know you have a real-time crime center, and some of those capabilities of the real-time crime center. They don't have to necessarily know everything, because I know it can be a lot, but let them know you exist. And so on that note, for us at least, what has worked is also letting the public in on knowing we have a real-time crime center. By allowing that from you coming from your own perspective, you're creating your own positive press, which will in turn create positive community relations. If you're trying to not be transparent and keep some of that stuff hidden, and the community ends up finding out on the back end, that's where you're going to lose their trust and their confidence in being able to have that technology. So making it known to them is absolutely critical to kind of keep that success growing, because you're building your own positive feedback based on that. So some of the stuff we'll do for that is we provide tours to the public. Obviously, it's a little different than a law enforcement tour versus a public tour of how in depth we'll go with what we have, but we're not afraid to let people come through and see the overall of what we're doing and what we're looking at.
Yeah, and I think that also gets into what we talked about last time, is what real-time crime centers are using the cameras for. And tracking. And I think once people see the purpose, that is helpful.
I think that's absolutely a big piece, is if they see you're using it specifically for criminal activity, whether it be narcotics related, stolen vehicles, other property crimes, robberies, other persons crimes, whatever it may be, if you prove that's the reason you're using it, though, that kind of is what helps you go to bat when you're explaining to them, this is what we're using it for. We're not using it for little Sally who's playing with her hair at the stoplight and thinks we're watching her. That's not what it's for. We're using it for that stolen vehicle that's sitting at that light next to you. We're following that until the officers are safely able to get behind it and track it and stop it themselves. Yeah. And with that also comes confirmation in the first place too. Taking those steps to run a vehicle in NCIC to confirm it's stolen if you do receive some kind of alert for it, and not just necessarily acting on everything as it is. You have to verify that information too before acting.
Yeah. It also gives folks an opportunity to ask questions. I mean, obviously, you're going to have information out published in periodicals, websites, social media, but having the ability to ask your own questions is a nice peace of mind for folks. And so as I'm thinking about this, I'm curious if some of the maybe funnier questions that you've gotten asked, or maybe some assumptions, some like really wrong assumptions that somebody might have had prior to coming into the tour.
I mean, I think a lot of it is people ask, are like, oh, did you see me run that red light the other day then? Like, no, we're not watching that. Like, the best we see if we're not actually monitoring a call is we'll see a ladybug or a bee land on the camera out of the corner of our eye.
Yeah.
Maybe every now and then we'll catch a crash out of the corner of our eye, but we're not sitting there watching to see if you run the red light or not. That's not our priority.
No, yeah. It would be fun. It would be funny to get their reaction. Is like, yes, and next time do a better job of parallel parking.
Yep.
I see their face.
Yep. Like, yeah, no, we zoomed into that parking lot and we made sure you were in between the lines and you weren't.
Yeah, you are now on a watch list, sir.
That's right.
So it seems like the cameras are the catalyst to this whole thing.
I would say so, because a lot of people think it's invading their privacy having them.
Yeah. And for the most part, and we might have talked about this before, and I just coming to mind now, most of the cameras that are put up on the streets are public owned cameras. They're not security cameras in the classic sense, in that they usually have flashing lights and blue lights to let people know that they're there, correct?
And if for the most part that's what a lot of people do, and for any that don't have that we might have gotten from, like you said, city cameras, if they don't necessarily have the flashing red and blue lights on them, it's still a public point of view that you could see. So you could go stand in that same intersection on the side of the road and stand there with your camera filming all day, every day, doing the exact same thing those cameras are doing.
Sure.
So that's kind of where the justifications come in from all of this, is all it's doing is giving you a picture. It's then utilizing those law enforcement databases that you had to have those special permissions and security permissions and accesses for beyond that to gather further information. So again, that's where the criminal initiative comes in, that you need a reason to be looking further than that. But the cameras themselves, anyone can go do that. They can go stand on the side of the road and record all day, every day if they want.
Yeah. It's interesting that that's really the genesis of the concern there is the cameras, but that's what people see. It's, I guess in a way, now that I think about it, it's almost like gas prices. If I didn't see gas prices every day, I probably wouldn't think much of it in terms of when gas prices go up or down. But in terms of, I mean, except for eggs.
Yes. That's the one everyone notices.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess when it really goes up, you see it. But in terms of gas prices, because you're sitting at a traffic light and you see the cost of a gallon of gas, that's constantly in your purview all this time, and so that's something that people keep track of. So same thing with the cameras. If you're at a light and I'm like, oh, there's that blue light, oh, there's a traffic camera there.
Exactly. So I think that's kind of what it puts it in people's heads too. And then you see the press release that comes out the next day of 3 arrested for stolen vehicle after fleeing from law enforcement. And then it goes into explaining vaguely some of that technology, and they're like, oh yeah, that's right, cameras. So it's kind of, again, keeping those news releases, though, showing what we're using them for on our side. So, of course, stolen vehicles, robberies. Big one is always like the sexual crimes, sexual predators, any child abuse type cases. Those are the ones that, you know, are the really good attaboy ones that help build up your crime center's rapport, because that's the kind of stuff people want to see.
Yeah. Now, do you also go to neighborhood meetings, HOA meetings, and community meetings?
Not so much me personally. Every now and then we'll do some city council meetings and stuff like that, and kind of open it up if anyone has any questions. The neighborhood meetings, though, we will provide information to our community engagement unit instead, so we kind of let them take lead on it. But any information or any questions that people come back with, we're more than willing to share back and forth. And then in addition to that, though, public records request is another big thing I know a lot of people probably have some concern with. That's why, again, Florida Sunshine Law here, so kind of recording times will vary state to state. So we record for 30 days to meet Florida Sunshine Law. So any video within 30 days that anyone requests, we send them. Whether there's something on it, whether there's not, we're still going to send it to them, because, like I said, if we can do it, so can they.
Yeah. And when you say send it to them, how do you all do that? Is that something where it's on a website, they're downloading it? Is that something where they have to come in and pick up a physical copy?
So just like any other public records request, they can kind of choose how they want to do it. They could come in, and if they wanted it on a flash drive or a disk or however they wanted it, you could share it through a web-based link. So essentially we'll download it out, send it to our records department, and then our records department has the ability to share it however that person's requesting it.
And there's no charge to the public for that, right?
It depends. Like if they're asking for like a good 5 hours of video, that's going to take us a while to download, so that'll come at a cost.
Okay.
But if it's something real quick and easy, whether it's only takes a few seconds, then there shouldn't be any really associated cost with it.
Besides cameras, what are some other aspects of the real-time crime center that you, again, trying to erase some of the stigma of a real-time crime center? Besides cameras, what else do you make sure that you cover with the public?
I think a lot of that comes down to another big common question that people come in, again, still kind of camera related, but I know like home surveillance cameras like Ring and stuff like that, they think you can just tap into their cameras, and that's not the case. There used to be a portal through Ring, at least, where you could request video, but still couldn't just directly or get it without asking first. That access got taken away last year somewhere legally. It just didn't work out. So it's kind of back to a door-to-door canvas kind of thing. So I know another big piece is working towards kind of almost having like a storage list of who to contact, though. So a lot of it comes down to whatever people want to give us is totally up to them to share. So it's law enforcement protected at that point. So like we have a list where you can submit your name, phone number if you have cameras, and who to contact if we wanted to access them or obtain video from them. And that's just kind of stored. So if we ever need it, if there is, say, a robbery or a shooting or something on your street, it's a quick, easy virtual canvas. So I think that's another one, is people kind of wonder if they're submitting their information, where that's going. So that strictly stays law enforcement. I really feel like cameras is the big one more than anything, truly. Obviously, license plate readers, another kind of form of camera, tie into that as well. Kind of goes back to the same thing, though. A license plate reader is just capturing a picture of your car or your plate or whatever it may be based on the timing of it or where you place them. It is, again, up to you to take that information from that tag or vehicle or whatever it may be and run it in those additional databases that you would otherwise have. So same thing, you could go stand on side of the road, take pictures of cars' license plates all day.
Now, do you get people asking if the real-time crime center has the capability to like hack into their bank account or hack into different private entities, stuff that they might be picking up and seeing on TV, and they think it just takes like 30 seconds.
Every now and then you'll definitely get those, especially when it comes to like cell phones and stuff too. That's another one I think that you can just hack in and figure out everyone they were talking to and all that. No, the closest we can get is if we have actual true exigent circumstances, we can get an updated ping location on your phone. And again, we're not just getting that for the sake of getting it. There's got to be true exigent circumstances of why we're getting it as quick as we would at that point.
I remember the show 24. I
was
watching that, and you can make the argument that that was a terrorist attack or whatever it is. Maybe they could get whatever they want, but it's just like they had like cell phone records in like 3 minutes. So I was at the time, I was like, do you know how long it would take me to get those? It would be like a month. It was way more than 24 hours because the whole show was about 24 hours. What happened to 24 hours?
And I mean, we've gotten lucky to I think real-time crime centers have kind of gotten closer to getting like that whole thing going of like solving crimes in 24 hours. I know obviously there's still a lot more investigation that goes on the back end, but at least kind of with a lot of the technology, you can get a good like initial in the first 24 or 48 kind of thing.
The more you talk about it, the more you market about it. I think, as you said, to hide it almost causes more problems than it's worth. To be out front with it, to talk about it, to say, hey, that you want to come toward the unit here, do you want more information? Here it is. You have specific questions, I'm ready to answer them. I think the more it's not behind a curtain where no one can see, the better, because that's the dark side of the moon, where I even get like this where I'm like, it's like, what's going on there? It's just like my creativity kind of gets the best of me sometimes.
And I mean, we did that from the get-go even too. Like when we knew we were getting ready to officially launch the crime center, even we invited every news media outlet anywhere remotely near us and said, hey, if you want to see what we're doing, come to this briefing.
Is their perspective about the same, or what angle do reporters and media come at it with?
I think they try to see if they can find ways to turn it, and it's just so hard to when you're just more transparent about it. So I think the more you keep it hidden is when they're able to twist it a little more immediately, like, why aren't you sharing information this time? So that's kind of the key to of trying to not necessarily rush it, but solve some of the stuff as fast as we can with the technology we have. So that way we can be transparent sooner than what it used to be, because you're not doing as much long-term waiting for stuff to come back. You have a lot of it at your fingertips now, to be able to kind of get that initial, to get something out there at least, like, hey, there's a large law enforcement presence in this area. Here's roughly what's going on. There is a threat to community. There isn't a threat to the community, that kind of thing.
So it got me thinking about it too. So I could see one thing that people would start to question if there is an incident and the camera wasn't working at that particular time. And then they're like, like, why was the camera not working, type of thing. And then they're thinking conspiracies.
Yep.
In terms of your point of view, I mean, how often is a camera just not working during an incident?
So it does happen. Do not get me wrong. I try to go through personally and audit cameras as much as I can, at least each day or each week, to kind of take note of what's down. So that way, like, if there's something down, I know it's been down for a week and I'm trying to get it resolved for whatever reason, or even if it's just down for the day, I'll try to get it resolved as quick as I can if I catch it right away. Yeah. So I think having like that backing to show I'm going through and doing my due diligence to audit them if they came into question, like, hey, I can't control the fact that they're doing construction at this intersection. I can show you at this point, this is when the camera went down, even of why the camera was down. During our last hurricane, a lot of our cameras, of course, went down from the storm because there were power outages. Yeah. That's something we were doing. We were going back to the very last, like, 2 minutes of a camera, seeing how heavy the wind was, that kind of stuff, to see what knocked the cameras out. So at least when they do go down, you can kind of see when they went down and show, like, hey, it wasn't a minute before the incident. This camera has been down for 3 days. Yeah. And then on that note, too, I think another big one is timestamps is another thing that people will try to see and confirm and mess with and alter. So that's another thing we'll try to verify and take note of. And if we're doing reports on our side, we'll document this timestamp is off by 15 seconds, because you can tell, like, the actual camera system times are synced up, but the timestamp on, like, the video itself might be off. So that's how you can kind of justify that too.
All right, Nikki, very good. Before I let you go, regional Real-Time Crime Center Association information. So I think when we talked last time, you were exiting being president of the Real-Time Crime Center Association and then focusing some efforts regionally. You got any updates for us on that?
So on that, nothing really specific at this time. I'm looking to hopefully get some meetings going here soon. The main focus has been kind of trying to stay involved with the conference being in the Southeast this year. So with our conference being in the Southeast, I'm kind of taking lead on some of the conference website stuff, that kind of thing, of the details of bringing that together to get people to start signing up for our conference at this point.
Yeah. And so do you have a date and location?
We're looking at the week of September 22nd, and it will be in Cobb County, Georgia.
Oh, okay.
So some things we'll feature with that are a lot of the local vendors you'll see in the real-time crime space are hubbed there. So we'll have some working on getting some tours of some of those companies out there. And then additionally, of course, Cobb County is one of the well-known crime centers that a lot of people always want to see. So we're getting some tours with them, as well as Dunwoody Police Department as well. So we're working on setting up some tours in that area too, specifically.
Yeah. And excuse my bad geography. Is Cobb by Atlanta?
Yes, it is right outside Atlanta. You got it.
I was going to say, is it by Atlanta or is it not by Atlanta?
Yep,
that was basically my only two points of reference. So.
So if you're going there, you'll most likely be flying into Atlanta or driving towards Atlanta at least.
All right. Remind folks, if they want to contact you, how do you want them to contact you?
Jason will include my information in here, that he will have my emails for both the association side and my law enforcement side as well then too.
All right. Very good, Nikki. As always, appreciate your time here today. Real crime all the time. You take care, and until next time.
Thanks again, Jason. I appreciate it.
Thank you for making it to the end of another episode of Analyst Talk with Jason Elder. You can show your support by sharing this and other episodes found on our website at www.leapodcasts.com. If you have a topic you would like us to cover or have a suggestion for our next guest, please send us an email at leapodcasts@gmail.com. Till next time, analysts, keep talking.